So that's going to lead us into Overwatch here on the Last Inning Touchdown Podcast, the lit podcast on Spotify, YouTube, Google Podcasts. You can find us on Twitter at LastInningTD. Overwatch. So, as we kind of mentioned last week, Overwatch League is kind of slow right now. The most interesting news that I could find is what's on the experimental card on Overwatch right now. So the experimental cards got a few changes. So Orisa will no longer have a critical headshot when using Fortify. Reaper has a reduced spread, on his shots, but his damage has been reduced a little bit, like 1 damage per shot or bullet or something.
He lost 2 pellets.
Yeah, so right. They've reduced the spread. So my assumption was that it's not less pellets, it's not as spread out. That was how I interpreted it.
Some people think this is a buff, or not really anything. They're just like, it's
yeah, I don't know. It's weird. So, and then you got Winston, who's got one of those health and armor redistributions that you don't. Yeah, they just switched around some of his stats. I think he gained 50 armor and lost 50 health. They just redistributed a little bit, and then
what does the armor do?
Armor regens. So that's
the point of.
I guess the point is that he's not as
gold regens or does blue regens? So they have like the different like Diva's like long is blue, right?
Yeah.
So what is that?
I don't know the colors off the top of my head.
Like, well, what's the point?
There's a difference between your health and your armor, and the armor and the Zenyatta also has armor. So that comes back. So I guess basically then you're not as dependent on your healers.
Yeah, this is all experimental, right?
Yeah, this is experimental, but typically you don't really feel it that much, honestly. And I don't think it's going to help him any. But Wrecking Ball also got his knockback reduced 25%.
That's
So it is interesting though, because we've seen in recent times they've been experimenting with Sigma. Sigma got nerfed, and then now Wrecking Ball has been tweaked here and there. So it does seem like they're trying to change the meta before Overwatch League starts. That would be kind of what I'm seeing here, is they're trying to switch up the meta. I'm not the biggest fan on the idea of Orisa being meta again, but
I don't know if that's really going to do anything for Orisa. I think what they're trying to do is get rid of Ball, but they also try not to nerf him into the ground where no one can even play.
Well, yeah, and I get that.
Because watching Ball in Overwatch League is not what anybody wants. Like, people can say they like Ball, but people can say they want to watch Overwatch League, but no one wants to go, you know what I want to watch in the Overwatch League? I want to watch a Wrecking Ball. Like, no, that's not what you want to watch. Like, I'm pretty much watching most characters, but Wrecking Ball would be, as someone who is a Wrecking Ball hater, I'm going to go against that.
Yeah, it's just not a very exciting gameplay at all. I think the Winston one would be more interesting if Winston, so I've been playing ranked matches as Reinhardt lately, and there are definitely games when you play teams that are organized enough that you just get like stunned and melted in like 0.2 seconds. And I feel like no matter how you redistribute Winston's armor health, he's going to find himself in the exact same place of, if I dive in, I'm probably going to get stunned 3 times and melted. Like
if I get stunned by a single person 1 time,
yeah, I mean,
I'm gonna die.
Because
I have no quick escape.
Yeah, I think that's what's really tough for Winston in general, and that's where Winston's always kind of struggled, is that they have added a lot of crowd control to the game, and Winston has kind of struggled due to that.
So armor is better against shotguns, beams, and weapons with high fire. So it's just pretty much a buff to make him easier, harder,
a little tougher. Yeah. Well, yeah.
Man, Reaper was like the infinite counter to win. It might be the best counter in the game.
Yeah.
Reaper, like, to Winston. I mean, there was no chance you were ever winning that battle. Like, in some cases, you could win it with like other characters with bad,
Yeah, it's pretty much like it's pretty much like it doesn't matter how good Reaper was and how good you were at Winston. Like, if you dove and Reaper was there, you were pretty much dead.
If it was a 1v1 and you don't have your escape, you're dead.
Right, absolutely. And I don't know. So I think it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how he plays.
Jimmy jump there?
with his health and armor switched. I don't know if you'd really be able to feel it all that much, but maybe it gives him a little bit more survivability. And maybe the idea here is if we buff Winston some, it'll reduce the Wrecking Ball play as well. So if we nerf Wrecking Ball and buff Winston, maybe Winston becomes your dive hero and we get rid of Wrecking Ball in some situations, which could be interesting. I don't know if this is enough to make that happen, but I think that seems to be the thought process going in. But I don't know.
Yeah, this Wrecking Ball one is kind of big, I think. I don't think it'll do it, like, really change his use that much, but the knockback was pretty big because they said that his knockback, with it only having a 5-second cooldown, was just way more massive than anything else, than any other knockback with a 5-second cooldown.
Well, and I think that's the thing is at the highest level too, like that knockback is huge for diving, like to dive the other team and knock them out of position.
Or knock them off like the
high grounds and things. Yeah, and knock them off high ledges. Like,
you lost the fight. It's over because your shield is down and you just got knocked off. It's over.
Yeah, so I think that's kind of interesting. So it does seem like they are trying to give people a dive hero and make it not Wrecking Ball. But I don't know. I don't know if this is enough to make that happen. But that's where it's tough, is because when we talk about Overwatch League, these people are playing a different game than we are, truthfully. I mean, that's the tough part that no one truly understands. When you get in these matches and everyone's like, oh, we have to play the meta in ranked play. It's like Overwatch League's meta may not be the ranked play meta. Because Overwatch League is playing at a completely different level than ranked play is, as far as team play and coordination and all that stuff. Like,
in this game is impossible for these devs to balance. It's not possible because they're balancing the same game for 3 different sets of people. They're balancing a quick play game, they're balancing a competitive game, and they're balancing a pro league. I mean, they're balancing,
which is almost which is like impossible when you're talking about this many characters. So really, what they do is they just cycle. They've just been cycling who is meta, so you can see and play different characters.
A lot of people they've left a good. Some people say like Zen has had so minute changes, it's crazy. But you've had well, now he just actually got a pretty big nerf, right?
His projectiles are much slower now. His orbs are much slower.
His speed, yeah.
So that's what's I don't know. That's what's always tough. And I think that a lot of your people that are really salty about buffs and nerfs and balances in general are people that are playing like one character. Like people that are 1 or 2 character type players. I think those are the people that complain the most, and the people that like play at super high ranked levels because they think they're the next Overwatch League pro, and they're like, oh, this player, this hero is stopping me from being an Overwatch League player. Like, I don't know, man. I just don't really get it, because as someone that casually plays it and enjoys some ranked play, has fun with ranked play, likes to play a lot of different heroes, it's kind of nice when the meta changes, because it's a chance to play somebody else, get to play around and enjoy different things. And it just, the only time it really sucks is when I personally don't like the meta and everyone keeps playing it. And so I get that. I get why you complain, but you also have to look at it like, okay, well, maybe my personal favorite meta is someone else's least favorite meta, and they had to play that. So, I mean, I don't know. I think that, as we've talked about several times on this podcast, and I always rant about it, is the fact that I feel like people just need to grow up, play the game, and if you don't enjoy it, don't play the game. I mean, that's kind of how I look at it. I think that it's way overblown, and I think that social media is a big, factor in that, obviously, because everyone sees the toxicity. Yeah, I mean, that's
cool to be positive.
And that's what's always tough, because I remember, I mean, when we were growing up playing video games and there was no social media, you either played the game because you liked it, and I don't remember ever complaining about games that I liked. Like, I never was like, oh my god, this gun is too strong, oh my gosh. Like, you just played. Like, if that was the OP gun, then you used that gun. You went for that gun, whatever it was, because you were a kid and you just wanted to play the game. Like, if you enjoyed the game, you played it as and didn't complain. Like, games did not get updated when we were younger. Like, the game came out of the box as is, and that's how you played it. And that's how it always was. So it's just interesting how we've gotten to the point where everyone thinks that we need to cry about every little thing, and that they should change every complaint that everyone has. And it's just a very different mindset now. And back when we were kids, like, If you didn't like the game, you just didn't play it. You got on the game and you said, I'm not good at this game, I don't want to play it. Or this game's not fun to me, I don't want to play it. You didn't sit there and put in a billion hours on the game and say, nerf this, they need to nerf this, they need to nerf this. Like, if you like the game, play it. If you don't.
I played 1,200 hours into a game I don't like.
Right. I can't stand that in general. I can't stand the mindset of, why is there no content in this game? The game came out 2 weeks ago, and I have nonstop played it for 2 weeks, and I've beat the whole game, and there's nothing left to do. Yeah, there's nothing left to do because you have literally done nothing else but play that game. Like, you've put in, you've played for 7 days, and you've got 6.5 days of gameplay. Like, most games are not meant to be played that much. Of course these games get old, they get stale, things get frustrating because you're playing them way too much. There is nothing in this world that if you do it that much is going to be as fun as when you started. Everyone always says, oh my god, Overwatch was so much better when it came out. Bring back classic Overwatch. No, it was fun because it was new.
Mercy resing an entire team after winning a team fight.
Right. It's just like...
But people forget that was a thing.
Yeah, everyone just remembers how much fun it was because it was new. You're talking about a game that's not even close to new and still is popular enough that you guys can be toxic and complain about it. I mean, you're lucky that the game hasn't died, but and honestly, the only reason it has died any is because of the amount of toxic people playing it. I don't know. I can't do it.
Jason, maybe you're toxic.
I am. I'm super toxic. You can watch my YouTube videos. I'm so toxic.
And loud.
Hey, that's fine.
With no game sound.
Rip. That's the worst. That's Overwatch's fault. They need to buff the game sound.
Yeah, they need to buff your computer to make sure you mute it in your taskbar.
Yeah, what is wrong with them? Why don't they buff that?
Why don't they unmute my OBS and taskbar?
Yeah, why doesn't it say OBS has you muted right now? I don't get it, but no, I don't know, man. I just the way of the world is to complain, and I just don't understand the idea of I don't like this game, but I'm gonna keep playing it and complain about it. So I don't know, and that's what's funny. And you and I had that conversation a little bit about the World War II rank system for Call of Duty. And you had said that it was similar to Overwatch's and this and that. But that's the thing is, I remember during World War II, everybody tweeting, oh my god, the World War II rank system sucks. Oh my god, blah, 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 blah. And whether it was good or not, everyone is now saying the World War II rank system was the best. And,
that's what we were talking about. As Jason goes, didn't people hate the World War II rank system? I go, the World War II rank system was elo based, just like Overwatch, where
just like everything.
You got elo for winning. I know, but it was actually an obvious point system. Oh, plus 13 for this win, minus 11 for the loss, and you just had to win more than you lost to get to go. And it showed if you were learning the game and learning your rotations and winning gunfights and all this stuff, and it showed. And not saying I even liked the game or even played it. I didn't really. I played World War II. I did not play ranked. That's how the elo system worked. And then now the Black Ops 2 League play, which everyone has been just dying for like a decade, came out again.
Cold War.
For the first time. And all of a sudden, people realized that playing that game, it just made no sense. I would literally sit there and play. I would place, let's say, I was a pretty good player at Black Ops 2, like back in the day. But for some reason, I would play silver, even though I went 5-0 in placements. And then I would win 3 games, and all of a sudden I would just jump to platinum, like rank 102, and then I'd lose like 3 games, and I'd lose 2 of the next 3, and I'd like lose, win, lose, and then all of a sudden I'm gold 82, and I'm like, what is happening? I don't know what's happening.
Right.
And then that's what's happening now, because all of a sudden there's streamers who are going like, one guy posted went 7-0 with a 2.83 KD, and he was the lowest rank in the game.
Yeah, it's just silly.
About
but it's also like it's also funny because Call of Duty is a great example, because Call of Duty comes out with a new game every year at every single year. Well, that in general, but every single year the game comes out. 3 months after it comes out, everyone complains it's the worst Call of Duty that ever came out ever, and then the new Call of Duty comes out. 3 months later, they complain about that Call of Duty and then say the previous Call of Duty was great and we just didn't appreciate it. And it's the same cycle every year.
No one said that about Modern Warfare, though.
There is a group of people though that thinks Modern Warfare was great. So it's just funny though that
those people are wrong.
They are absolutely wrong. But it's just interesting though that it's like the previous game was always way better than we give credit for after the next game comes out. But the next game is I don't know. It's just ridiculous, man. But I don't know. There's, like we said, there's not a lot to talk about with Overwatch. So we are going to wrap that up as well. So that means we are going to wrap up the podcast here at the Last Inning Touchdown Podcast. We really do appreciate you guys listening. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. You follow the podcast on Spotify. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at Last Inning TD. Make sure you have notifications so you know when we post something. We do appreciate you guys' support. We will catch you guys next time.
Bye.